am very lucky to be joined here by Clay Hodges, Chief Trading Officer and founder of Top One Trader. Clay, thank you so much for joining us. Well, I'll hand it over to you pretty much straight away. Curious to know more about you, your story, what got you involved in trading to begin with, and then also as a trading coach, and what led you to where you are today with Top One Trader.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks for having me on your show. Man, that's a lot to unpack. I could probably, spend an hour and a half talking about that. But, long story short, I was on a wrong path in life and was, partying, got mixed up with drugs, alcohol, and my life was going nowhere pretty fast. On the outside, it seemed cool. I was a ski instructor. I was a fly fishing guide. I was doing all this cool stuff. I was living in the mountains in Colorado. But, on the inside, I was just like unraveling and definitely had. And once I started to, get my life on a more balanced and spiritual path and to where I had some stability, then I realized that next component was like, man, I don't have any money. Like, I'm not drinking anymore, not partying, not doing drugs. But at the time I was living in a halfway house, which in the United States, I don't know, are you in England or UK or?
I used to live in the United States, so I am familiar with what a halfway house is. Yes,
yeah,
but at
like,
the moment I'm in the
kind
UK.
of rehabilitating your life self into
Yeah.
like a more normal life. And so I was doing that, and I was working construction, and this guy that I'd met through like recovery was, owned a kind of a landscaping construction. Like we would build irrigation lines and like new apartment buildings and that kind of thing. And I was in Nashville, Tennessee, and it's like super hot, and it was in the summer, and I was like, man, okay, I'm like, my life isn't falling apart, but I don't want to do this for the rest of my life. Like, how can I learn about, how can I have more money? And then I realized, well, I mean, the thing is, I don't know anything about it really, like truly. And, so started to learn about some financial literacy and, making money online and entrepreneurship. And that's how, that's the abridged version, but that's how I, found my way into trading. It was about like in 2015, found got pulled into like a network marketing trading company. And there's a lot of those float. It was like the precursor to some of the big ones that are out right now. I won't name any names, but and so I was like, whoa, this is crazy. What's this all about? I used to, I wanted to be like, I was always interested in markets and that kind of thing. And so that's how I got into trading and found a mentor myself, got started in a prop firm that was like, it was more of a legitimate, not that these aren't, but more like your old school prop firms, where you would go get like an apprenticeship and, they you have to earn your keep that way rather than buying a challenge and, hopefully you have a strategy put together. They kind of formulate one. And that was in the UK. The name of it was Orion Capital.
Oh, right.
So yeah, but so then got involved in that and then was like, man, I think I can do this on my own. And so this was in 2017, about the same time, 2018, 2019, FTMO was coming around. And so then that's when I started teaching, getting funded myself, using what I'd learned there to, apply to the online world of prop, which was like completely becoming a new thing. Right. So that's when I was like, wow, okay, there's something to this. And so that's what, first got me on, mentoring people, showing people how to get funded, risk management, having the right, I'm super heavy on psychology because of what I went through with addiction because
I can imagine. Yeah, I was thinking. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, full disclosure. I mean, I was a heroin addict, like full blown, dude on the street that you would see geez, lock your doors. Not that, you know what I mean? You see someone in the corner,
that's an
you're like,
inspiring story in itself. And I suppose so. You mentioned spirituality, and does that inform a lot of your approach to trading or to business? Is that something you'd like to use as a coach as well?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you will quickly learn in trading that, there's one, if you don't have some sort of solid foundation on like a spiritual basis where you're like, that is going to help keep you grounded, keep you from
Mm.
spiraling out of control, whether that is like with greed or patience, that kind of thing. Yoga and meditation is huge for me. It's like a big part of my life now.
Mm.
Uh, you know, if you don't have that solid foundation, then more than likely, eventually it's going to crumble, whether
Yeah.
just like can't get it together, can't like be patient enough to have some success, or and this happened to me, it was a really good lesson that, you don't have a solid foundation, but you get a good stroke of the beginner's luck, make a lot of money, but aren't like stable enough to, be able to keep it. And that's
Yeah.
a much more painful lesson too. So yeah, I think it really,
I think a lot of us have had that lesson. I think certainly myself, I think, and a lot of the reason, like a lot of people tend to seek out prop firms or seek education is because they realize they had that beginner's luck. And until you realize that it is big, you don't really realize it's beginner's luck until it's too late.
well, until like, a couple years down the road, you're like, man, I didn't even know what I was doing back then. Like now, you know what I mean? Because then you keep
Yeah.
growing, keep becoming more of a informed trader, right? So
Mm.
now this is the thing, the difference between the, more traditional route of prop trading that I started with, which, if people that aren't familiar, basically you like you pay a fee to get coached. And then if you pass the criteria, then, you get kind of like access to capital, but very almost like dripped out, like almost like you start at 5K, 10K, 25K. And, that's how it works like for me, right? So like that making sure, and I think that's a really good model. And I think, it'd be cool if this is kind of off topic, if we would like to do something like that, where there's some sort of coaching involved, where it would be like,
Yeah.
you learn the tenets of, risk management, having a set strategy, like I think it's important to everybody has their strategy, or, I could give you one of my strategies, right? But eventually over time, it's going to become your own, because there is no like,
Yeah.
with trading, if it was like, do this, this, and this, and you'll get this, it's not that easy, because like we all see the world differently and have a different set of experiences and a different set of, we might be driving through the same town, right? And you're like super hungry, you hadn't eaten all day. And, I'm the one driving, and I noticed that, like the check engine lights on, right? So we're driving through town, and the only thing you're seeing is like burger spots or food spots, maybe like a pizza place. I'm driving the car, and I notice like there's like their engine's rattling a little bit, and like the air conditioner's messed up, and the check engine light's on. So only thing I'm noticing is like a car repair place, like oil change place, right? And so we are driving on the same road to the same town, and we have two completely different experience of what the town was like. You're like, that place is awesome. You see all the good restaurants there, and I'm like, I think we better pull over. Like, I don't know.
I think that's actually a really good way of putting it. Like same path, different perspectives.
Right. So like if I'm like, hey, this is how you could map out momentum based trading strategy, which is like more the style that I do. After you work with it after, 2 or 3 months, more than likely it's going to look a little bit different. Of course, you can handle risk in a different way than I can handle it, because, we have two different, you might be more of a scalper or a swing trader or whatever. So, it's not so having a cut and dry strategy where, isn't like necessarily a great approach. It's more like helping somebody to formulate their own way of seeing the market over X amount of time. And
I think that's powerful. Yeah.
Anyways, that's like
building your own foundation.
Right, for sure. So I think Matt and I have done, we are trying to do that with their, if somebody comes in with and gets a challenge from us, we have a blueprint. We call it the Top One Trader Blueprint. It has 2 parts of it. One is more technical analysis and strategy and trading material that, I put together. And then, Matt, who's my partner, people don't know, he's the CEO. He is more of a into the mindset, and he's been an entrepreneur, super successful guy, you know author, international public speaker and stuff, so he's really dialed in on the mindset part of it. So anyway, so we put that together, and that is kind of, I know I just went on a long tangent, but a long-term vision.
No, it's all good.
Yeah, well, if I wanted to circle around between the difference between the prop firm which I started, which was my entry into it, and now there's really a big difference. And I think Top One Trader, we set ourselves apart because well, you see so many prop firms now having a lot of trouble and not even surviving, right? And that's because they've just put quick profits first rather than creating a lasting relationship, one, with the traders, and two, like, how do we set ourselves apart for like long-term success? And that's like how we approached it from the get-go, which is like, despite all the insanity of MetaTrader just bailing on the whole industry, which was like a shockwave for sure, that a lot of prop firms didn't survive. We were pretty stable. We're somewhat lucky that these other platforms like TradeLocker and MatchTrader and CTrader had already started to establish themselves. So when we lost MetaTrader, inevitably, then we were able to pivot towards those. Plus, we had more of a long-term business-minded approach, which is more to Matt's credit because he's just a great CEO. And so we were able to survive that storm pretty well. And so yeah, I mean, it's been a interesting few months from when we started, and then to get back to answer your question, how Top One itself came about, how Matt and I joined forces. He was in my coaching program originally. So this goes back, I think probably about it was towards the end of, the pandemic. So I guess 3 years ago now, which is crazy. It's already been 3 years, but, he was in my coaching program. Of course, he was doing, his, involved with his other businesses, and was more, kind of like a private student of mine. And so, and then we like lost touch, which is, happens, people get involved in other stuff. He's running his other businesses. And then it came full circle because I was involved in another prop firm that I was more of like an affiliate for, kind of like a spokesperson type role, rather than like, an actual owner, somebody that has stake in it. And, he had developed a bot and was asking me about it, and was asking me about, the prop firm I was working with. And then at the time I was like, I'd actually broken ties with them. And that's when I was like wanting to start my own with that same vision that I talked about with, we're leading with the trader. How can we make, have like a long-term relationship with people that come in and become traders of ours? And then, 3, how can we approach it from a more like, professional and almost like a old school prop firm approach, rather than like, hey, come on our website, buy a challenge, and you'll never hear from us, right? So that's why, like, you've probably been reading our emails and stuff too. You're probably on our list, and you see,
oh yeah,
cool, yeah. So and it's actually myself and Matt writing those. We talk about life stories, business stories, really like think about how stuff that we would like to read, and also too like what we'd be interested as a trader, and as an entrepreneur, and somebody that ultimately, getting back to my original reason why I wanted to get into trading in the first place, like, we're just all trying to get like a little more personal freedom in our life, right? So that's not going to come with it when it's just like emailing, hey, we got more promotions, or this, that, like coming at it like very transactional, like most of prop firms are, rather than like building a relationship and being part of a community. And you can actually have interaction with the founder and the CEOs, like whether it's in our Discord or whatever, so anyway, so when Matt hit me up, he was like asking about the company I was involved with. It was weird because the dude that was going to be my original partner bailed like 2 days before. He's a great guy, but he's more of like he's more of a not so much familiar with the space, honestly. So more of an investor than anything. So it actually worked out the way it really is supposed to, because he messaged me on Instagram and was asking about who I was working with and, if the bot would work. And I was like, dude, I got a better idea. I think, the universe kind of just put you in my DMs for a reason. So let's get on a call and talk about it. And, we did. And he said, I pitched him on the idea and on Top One, which is actually, we changed the name of it. That was his idea, which was a great name. And then he's like, yeah, give me a couple days. Let me think about it. And then, like 3 or 4 days later, he's like, all right, man, I'm in. Let's do this. And that's how it got started.
Amazing. Honestly, you've answered so many of the questions that I had on the top of my mind, because I was curious to know how you guys differentiate yourselves, because these days it seems like there's a new prop firm every day, and it seems like there's prop firms dropping every day at the same time, which is another discussion. And a lot of the prop firms seem to offer essentially the same thing here or there. And I think when it comes down to it, having that, why would somebody wants to use prop trading? It's not just about having access to capital. It's like, what else comes with it? And that community aspect, the educational credentials that you bring with it, I think are definitely distinguishing factors. Now, I was interested, you talked about the engagement with the community, because that's actually how I stumbled upon you guys in the first place. I was doing research for a video where I was looking about firms and covering transparency on various prop firms, and also which firms are not transparent. And a lot of the reviews I had were like a lot of people talking about how they appreciated how you guys dealt with the situation involving MetaTrader, whereas a lot of prop firms were, everyone was in a pretty shitty situation across the board. But I think a lot really was told about how individual prop firms dealt with that situation. And a lot of traders, I think at a lot of other firms, a lot of very big and previously successful firms were left in the lurch, left wondering what's going on. And that communication, it's the easiest thing, but it's the most simple thing that people slip up on time and time again. And I did note that, a lot of people were appreciated that you had regular video updates, talking with people and just keeping people informed. And it's that little bit of effort that is worth it in the long run. And people do appreciate that. And and also just to be, I think, kept informed, we're all in the same boat. We're getting through this together. And just so people know that there's a plan in place, because I think, I'm sure as you're aware, there's a lot of uncertainty at the moment. And
even still,
people don't know. It's like, what's up ahead, what's on the horizon. And it's okay sometimes to say, we don't know, but we're putting plans in place. We're being as resilient as we can be and keeping people informed, because at the same time, there's nothing good about saying, oh, we're cool, we're fine, don't worry about it, which is a lot of other prop firms. A major one which no longer exists, we're saying right up until the last moment that we have all the plans in place, don't worry, we're fine. And obviously they weren't fine. And I suppose it brings me to the question, because on the outside, it seems like you have a lot to offer, but I'm curious, what's your take on where things are at the moment? And there's challenges ahead for the industry, and hopefully, I like to think positive. I like to think that we will all emerge from this stronger as a result. I think there's too many prop firms at the moment, and safer, more stringent rules across the board are for the benefit of traders and for those prop firms that are reliable and worthwhile and worth keeping around. And I'm curious to know, how do you guys see the challenges ahead, and how do you anticipate navigating them?
Yeah, I mean, great question, man. So just to backtrack a little bit too, like when all that was going down with MetaTrader, Matt and I and the rest of the team, Bryson, who you've talked to as well, and Todd, who does our customer support, and which they're actually, people are surprised that they actually talk to live support agents when they're, on with us. But with the whole MetaTrader thing, we approach it like, how would we want to be communicated to? And, coming in and in the videos, like we posted a video, either myself or Matt, like every day, and we post it to Discord and to my Instagram and to Top One Traders Instagram and YouTube, of acknowledging first, instead of, playing it off like, hey, this is all good, acknowledging that, yeah, shit's kind of hitting the fan right now, but we are working day and night to make sure that we get through this, and we prepared previously for any type of, black swan type disaster, which is exactly what it was. And, we're going to get through this together. So rather, like, as opposed to being like, sit down in the back of the class, we got this, is more like, we're just like you said, we're in the same boat together, and we're going to make it through. And, it was kind of definitely one thing after the other. But I do think we're on the other side of that. And, with what's happening now with the different prop firms, you like hit the nail on the head with the rules, and rules being too lenient, and some prop firms having like 1 to 100 leverage, 1 to 200 even with some of them, which, don't stand a chance. Or, with the company that like I originally got my start with, the drawdown for, the trader for the day would be like 1.5%. And if you hit that, you would not lose the account, but you'd have to stop trading, right? It'd be like, you'd have to stop trading, get back to the drawing board, what's going wrong, and actually reevaluate what's going on. So, traditionally the rules are much, much stricter than they are. And so we've been tightening our rules down, and, I think we were one of the first people to really do that and to lower our leverage. We've always had relatively low leverage. And I think that's why we've never gotten into a situation. One of the reasons why, we, denied, people are denying payouts, right? So we've never denied payouts, never delayed payouts. Now, we have, if somebody was like, having a toxic strategy, like some sort of high frequency trading bot or arbitrage, then yes, we, denied their payouts and blacklisted them, because that's against our rules. But if somebody follows our rules and everything's set in place, then we've never denied a payout or delayed a payout. That hasn't been an issue with us. And another reason for that is, our management of the stats and funds. And that's, having a great CEO like Matt to, we're on team calls literally every day. We haven't missed one, minus the weekends, since we started. And since before we started, which was, we started putting the plan in place back in late June and July, and we had daily huddles every single day. So like, where we review the numbers, we set X amount aside to make sure that, for that we can, have our payouts. So the traders that deserve to get paid do get paid on time. We typically have a 24-hour to 12-hour turnaround time once somebody applies for a payout. So, I think we're going to start talking about that a lot more, about our time to payout, being under 24 hours, if not even average 8 to 12 hours. So, which is massive, right? So we, I think making sure that the plans are in place to have financial long-term stability as a company, being honest and transparent about that, which is like our number one core value. And then from there, making sure our rules are strict, but not, overly strict, not to where people can't, where it's impossible, but where it's reasonable, to where somebody that's managing their risk and has the right trade psychology and strategy can not just get one payout, but consistent payouts. And actually the truth is, like, having that set of rules creates the trader that's open to, growing as a trader, a more consistent and profitable trader. You might not be hitting a ridiculous 25% payout or 30% payout, but that's not sustainable anyways. Those type of payouts happen from YOLO trading, right? Which, we all know what that is, and we've all done it, right? Where you're just like in the, it's a Hail Mary, right? So, or like, churning accounts. Like, I'm going to, like, buy X amount of accounts until I hit it big on one of the accounts, and so, but yeah, so doing away with that type of trading. And if a trader comes in, it's like, my goal is to be consistent and profitable so that I can make 5,000, an extra 4,000 to 5,000 a month. Then, which we have traders doing that. And that's ultimately why people get into doing this, right? So, for the long-term sustainability. So if you can manage your risk under a certain set of rules that are going to help create a better trader, then and you're open to that, then you can come in and crush it with us, right? As long as you have realistic expectations. So we have realistic expectations for our traders, and we hope and invite people to have realistic expectations for us as a business, that we can be profitable, but also, be able to deliver on our promises,
Yeah. I think that's a good reminder for us all. I think the fundamentals of risk management, which often gets talked about, but then in practice, I think gets forgotten about sometimes.
Sure.
And I think, sustainability is everything. A long-term approach is, I think, where we need to look at. And that's the pattern I'm seeing from some more of the respected prop firms, where they're looking towards the future and looking to implement solutions. And like yourselves, they're implementing some stricter policies with the aim of promoting that sustainability. I mean, the biggest red flag is when you can see it on paper. Ridiculous drawdowns and just stuff that looks like it's a cash grab for a short term. Just trying to
that's what it was for that's what it was for a lot of unscrupulous companies, which you would never see their founder going on a podcast or the CEO posting a weekly video newsletter.
Like if you can find out who the founder is,
even find out who they are, right? Because obviously they have something to hide, and they're not in it to create a relationship with the traders and just have an awesome experience on both sides. So and that's a huge if you see that, then you should be super weary of that, as as a trader, if they allow HFT or some sort of crazy bot trading or 100% payout or something like that. It's just it's not real, right? So
the red flags are all there. And so a couple more questions, and to wrap us up, I guess. With Top One Trader, I'll lay it over to you. If is a double-barreled question, is there a particular type of trader? Let's say, is it a great place for a beginner trader, or is it better for an advanced, or is there one or the other? And then for someone who's looking for a prop firm, I'd love to know, why would you say they should be looking at Top One Trader as opposed to any of the other firms? What is it that you guys have to offer?
Well, to answer your second question, we will pay you out. I think our motto is payouts you can count on. That's our credo. So if we can't deliver on that, then we're not going to be around, right? So that's our number one. How can we deliver on that promise? And that's what we make sure we're going to do. So I know, as myself, as a trader who's been in the prop world for longer than most traders, just as long as it's been around, for somebody that, unless you go to Cambridge or Harvard or MIT and become and go to Wall Street or London or Canary Wharf or whatever, to actually be in that environment and kind of bred for that. So this is a new opportunity, right? Where you can be just a regular dude that went through that, completely wrecked his life up, and use it as a stepping stone to create something better. This is a massive opportunity. So the problem is there, we had been talking about, there's some FUD in the industry right now because people are worried that they won't get a payout, right? So that's not a factor with us. So that's on, the front end. That's why you should come to us, because we'll pay out. Now, do you have to be a pro trader, or could you come in as kind of a beginner? Personally, I think prop trading is a fast track to becoming a consistent and profitable trader, because in order to make it, you have to follow a certain set of rules to dial in your risk management. So the thing is do I think you should come in and buy a 200K challenge? No, I think you should come in, purchase a 10K challenge after you have a rudimentary understanding, and use that as a way to develop yourself, and have a long-term mindset that, hey, this is probably going to take 6 months, a year, 2 years, even 3 years, but that's okay, because the upside is going to be there. because the thing is if you come in and you buy like, let's say a 10 or 25K challenge for $100, I mean, I don't know your trading history, but my guess is that you found out about trading. You're like, holy shit, this is crazy. Then you put like $500 into like a shady broker, tried to flip it, blew that account, then like did it again, probably did it a few more times.
Pretty accurate.
Right. And then you're like, okay, I love this. This is exciting, but I need to figure out how to do this. Right. So like, if you're trying to do it with your own money, the only way to do it is going to be flipping the account, because otherwise it's going to be like, unless you have 25, 50K to put in of your own money, most people don't have. Right. So you could use it as a fast track to becoming profitable, because, you know, prop firms like us will give you access to, you know, 100K or, you know, the possibility of that to trade with and to be able to be paid out on that amount of capital. So the opportunity is there. So, you know, the thing is you got to start somewhere. So if you come in with a realistic expectation and use it as a building block to, you know, dial in your risk management strategy and your trade psychology, then like it's a huge opportunity that I think a beginner can come in with that goal in mind. That's like, you know, a realistic goal. Like if you're a complete beginner, being like, okay, in a year from now, I want to be able to get a 100K account and be able to make 3% on it in a month, which, you know, not like 13%, not 25%, but like a 3%, which would be 3K, which after the profit split, you know, $2,500 or whatever, which anybody right now, for the most part, unless you're like Jeff Bezos or whatever, you know, would take an extra $2,500 a month, right? So
I'll take it.
Yeah, dude, for sure. So I mean, I think it's the best approach, but you know, making sure you're with the right company like ourselves. And of course, like I said, we have trainings, and you know, I do weekly Alec videos, and we're gonna have more training around the corner too, which is super exciting. We're working on. So but yeah,
there's some great content on your YouTube channel I was seeing as well. It was very helpful for me. So I'll make sure to link that in the description of this video, as well as the firm itself, if anyone would like to explore a bit more. And I've certainly learned a lot today. It's been definitely very valuable for me, and I think I'm sure for the audience also.
Cool. Thanks. Did that make sense about like if you're coming in as a beginner, like, you know, using the 10 small accounts to grow?
Yeah. You know, it's a starting point. Again, harken back to sustainability, and, you know, you grow from there. As long as the trajectory is going that way and you're learning along the way, I think, you know, that's a powerful thing. And having a prop firm that's on board with along the way is exactly what you want.
Right. Cool. Yeah, no, kind of went long-winded on that answer, but, you know.
No, it's good.
But being realistic about your expectations, you know.
Yeah. Clay, honestly, thank you so much.
Thanks for having
me. Really appreciate your time, and as I say, I'll link the firm and your YouTube channel. And anything else you'd like people to know, or any final words before we sign off?
Yeah, sure. You can follow my Instagram, clay.b.hodges, and then, like, you know, if you see this podcast and want to direct message me, have any questions, feel free to reach out. And, you know, it's gonna actually be me you're talking to. It's not gonna be a VA or a bot or anything like that. So. And then you could also check out our Top One Trader Instagram for updates and things that we have going on monthly, and different, you know, mindset, psychology things that I might post on there.
Excellent. Well, I'll make sure to link those in the description as well. Clay Hodges, I should say, at Top One Trader. Thank you so much for joining us. Absolute pleasure chatting.
Thanks, Sam. Appreciate it.